There's a ton of content out there, and if you don't know where to start, it can be overwhelming, even paralyzing. So let's fix that. Welcome to Simply Cyber, a community of tens of thousands of aspiring and active cybersecurity professionals focused on networking, knowledge sharing, and professional development. I'm Dr. Gerald Dozier, Chief Content Creator at Simply Cyber, inviting you to get the answers to your cybersecurity problems with hundreds of cybersecurity videos answering your frequently asked questions, interviewing industry experts, and live streaming daily cyber threat briefings hosted by me. Now get the stories and insights you won't find anywhere else. Hit subscribe now and dig into all the fresh content on the channel and in the community. Nothing should stop you from launching and leveling up your cybersecurity career today.
What is going on, you beautiful, beautiful people? How's everybody doing today? Welcome to Friday! My name is Eric Taylor. If you're new here, I'm sorry, this will probably be a freaking train wreck, but hopefully you'll be able to strap in, make sure that seatbelt's tight, firmly fastened in tightly, because we're going to go on a train ride today, where I again am Eric Taylor. I am welcoming you to episode 693 of the Daily Cyber Threat Briefing, where we're going to go through all the news of today from the CISOseries.com podcast, and we will talk about, from a technical standpoint, what is going on from my opinion, and be able to help educate you and level up your game while you go forward in today's world. Yes, I am hopped up on coffee. No, I have not had my ADHD medicine yet, so you know what that is. I am going to have hot takes. I'm going to have situations where I just go on complete effing tangents, and we'll do our best not to get canceled today, because that's the way that I am. If you are here for the first time, welcome. Please put in the chat hashtag first timer. Let's let the entire community, just like Justin Newhouser, just like Joseph Geoff and James McQuiggan. What's going on, James McQuiggan from 30,000 feet? All of us in the chat will welcome you. Say, hey, what's going on? Welcome to the party, pal, and be here. If you are here to get your CVEs or CPEs, not CVEs, we're not talking about vulnerabilities just yet. CPEs, continuing education. Definitely put in Team SC in the chat. That way you can be able to bookmark it, save it, and know that this is worth half a CPE, because it is community educational based training. You will look for that when you're following your CPE to be able to file and say, hey, I've got 13, I got 20, I got however many credits it is, to be able to go there. If you are sitting here or driving in your car heading into work, slow down. There's a crosswalk coming up, but we do see you as well. So hashtag we see you at audio. So do us all a huge favor, whether you are listening to audio, if you're watching us on LinkedIn, YouTube, or whatever your streaming services of choice, please do us a massive favor and click that thumbs up button. We're not really looking for vanity, but we are trying to spread the message of this podcast and let more people be informed about today's threats and today's top stories of the day, so that way everybody is more educated. And this is the way that we do, by giving back to the community and being able to make sure that we are hopefully building a more secure world going in tomorrow. So please strap in. We're going to go into it. We will be having a panel. We will have a special guest at the end for jaw-jacking sessions, so please tune in toward the end. And with that, let's get on to the show sponsors. Y'all know me. My name is Eric Taylor. I am the CEO of Barricade Cyber. We'll have the sea shanty at the end. I think personally, when I'm hosting, and I got my stupid banner up there, or my logo sit up right there, that's advertisement enough. So, if you have a cyber threat, just definitely go check us out. We will talk about the other sponsor. This will be a message pre-recorded from Jerry, just to make sure I don't goof it up, because sponsorship matters. Message from Jerry.
also want to tell you really quickly about push security. Now, some of you may not have heard of push security. I've been using them for about 2 weeks now. Listen, guys, it's all about the identity. It's all about Carl using web browsers to do silly stuff. Guys, identity attacks account for 80% of breaches. Like, they're involved in 80% of the breaches. Seriously, what I've been telling you guys, misconfigurations, stolen creds, technical exploitation. It's gross. It's gross, and you don't want it. Believe me when I tell you that. So check it out. Because they account for 80%, it's no surprise that most people are doing work in the browser. Oh, it's cloud, it's SaaS-based, it's so easy. Well, browsers are the new endpoint and the natural point for monitoring and enforcing. If you're looking at the operating system only, you're missing a big part of the picture. You need to look at Carl in his Chrome browser and Sally in her Safari browser. So imagine, if you will, for a minute, sit back, close your eyes, think of this. There's an attempt to phish one of your users, Bob in accounting. But imagine you could see every user in your organization who had clicked on the link. The site was automatically blocked, even if it was brand new malware infrastructure. And the bad guys never even got a chance to get the creds because Jan and Bob and Carl were not capable of putting them in because, wait for it, push security intervened. Push Security's browser agent basically sits in the middle between the browser and potential malicious infrastructure, essentially protecting your end users from themselves. They wouldn't even know any different. And it's really cool because you get this whole like interface thing. Here, I'll show you really quickly. You just install the this Chrome extension and you're off and running. They have a free tier. Look at this. Beep, boop, boop. Checking for robots. It's as simple as this, guys. I really like this. I'm spending an extra minute on this because I want you to see it. Come on. Push security. Let's go. Look at this thing. Look at all this. This is just for me. All right, we got all the apps. What kind of apps? Look at this. It'll show me. Look at all these things. Like, this is all the stuff that I've been accessing. So imagine seeing this for all of your end users in your environment. You could quickly suss out shadow IT. You could, like, literally, you could just walk over to Carl's desk and be like, stop going to Prawn Hub, Carl. Right? Anyways, if it sounds interesting to you and you want to know what else you can use this browser agent from Push to do, head to pushsecurity.com/cyber. I got the link up on the stream here.
Oh, the video ended. But anyway, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jerry, for doing that pre-recording, because you know, he knows darn tootin' well that I will butcher that freaking thing up. So thank you so much for pre-recording that, making that super easy for me to be able to talk about that. We will talk about Antisyphon at the mid-roll, ladies and gentlemen. With that, I do want to do a shout out to a couple of first timers. Thank you so much for Dr. Gerald Ozer. Just so you know, he is in the green room, or he's not in the green room. I lied. He is in the background. He is watching. He is going to be going to a conference. So I am very honored and pleased to be able to fill in for him. But shout out to OMG. It's Meadow, first timer. Also first timers of Larry Shenanigan Jr. Sorry, new timers. I butcher names. And Brian Clark, 3 of you that was captured by Dr. Gerald Ozer and put into the mod chat. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please share this if you found this thing to be not a complete total train wreck, but Dr. Gerald Ozer will be back here on Monday. It will have a more cultured, more polished type of thing. But I'm a train wreck, so like I said. With that, let's pivot and let's get on to the news, ladies and gentlemen. What do y'all say? While I'm pushing a couple of knobs and getting a couple of things ready, let me know in chat, what are your plans for the weekend? Love to know about it. It says it's playing, but of course, it's not.
So series, it's cybersecurity headlines.
These are the cybersecurity headlines for Friday, August 23rd, 2024. I'm Steve Prentice. Kremlin complains of DDoS attack, but digital experts are not so sure. Disruptions that occurred on Wednesday for some Russian users of WhatsApp, Telegram, Skype, Discord, Twitch, Wikipedia, Steam, and even Pornhub are being blamed by the Russian internet regulator Roskomnadzor on a DDoS incident targeting Russian telecom operators. Local digital experts, however, disagree with this statement, arguing that it is impossible to organize a DDoS attack on all 2,000 Russian telecom operators simultaneously. Stanislav Shakirov, co-founder and technical director of the Russian digital rights organization Roskomsvoboda, suggests that the regulator, quote, likely tried to block Telegram, which inadvertently impacted other services, end quote. FAA proposes new cybersecurity rules.
Again, it's not it wouldn't be a Simply Cyber podcast without a little bit of daggum audio issues. So I will have to do this in a little bit different fashion. Bear with me 1 second, and I will talk about my understanding and my viewpoint from this. Okay, there we go. Thank you for bearing with me a few moments on that. So let's just put this plain and simple, right, ladies and gentlemen? So they're like, oh, it's impossible to do a DDoS because so many services. Bull crap. I'm just going to call it. It's complete total BS. There is a thing that's called a botnet network, and they literally will infect a bunch of machines. It will communicate with that botnet network, and will get as missions, almost like a very sophisticated, multi-tenanted command and control setup. So when you send the command to your botnet network, it will actually flood. Hypothetically, if you were to it's been posted in the news before that Russia and I believe Japan. There's another country that I've seen on the news, but I know Russia for sure. They essentially have one edge switch, if you will, that is controlling the entire internet. And Russia's shown this before where they were able to where they've been completely able to disable and kill off the entire internet to their country. So all you really got to do is just tack that edge switch that's controlling and bringing in the broadband for all of the country, and congratulations, Bob's your uncle, and you got a DDoS attack, right? So I don't know. So to me, if I was going to do a DDoS, that's where I would do it. I would do it at the edge. I would try to bring, especially when it's so weak and unable to be done. Just checking my chat. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's if I was a pen tester, if I was a black hat, if I was somebody who was doing hacktivism or anything like that, that's what I would do. And it'd probably take you a good bit to find where in the world that IP address is, but it probably wouldn't be too hard for somebody who's more sophisticated and understanding than I am. So anyway, to each their own. On to the next story, ladies and gentlemen.
For airplanes. The rules focus on security of the airplanes themselves, especially the engines, which have increasingly become connected to internal and external data networks, which could make them vulnerable to cyber threats.
No crap.
The proposal seeks to standardize what the FAA currently calls special conditions, which are temporary regulations issued on a case-by-case basis. The goal of the standardization is to help reduce the cost of certification. This change is being described as long overdue by cybersecurity expert Joseph Saunders and others.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. I'll try not to go on a complete tyrant of this freaking mess. The FAA is, I would say airplanes, not really the FAA, the airplanes themselves, right? They are a legacy technology, right? I mean, you're literally strapping yourself into a sardine can with jets on it and being propelled and thrown into the air. Sorry, just checking a chat from DJ BSEC, or my buddy there. So, when you think of it as simplistic as that, you are literally in a tin can with jets being jettisoned into the air and to be able to go across the world. That's kind of the way that it is, right? All the Boeing stuff that went on not too long ago, and I think still is, they actually had to stop production on one of their, was it 777, whatever. Some of the new stuff that Boeing is creating, they had to actually stop production. But if you don't know, and for those who are new to the InfoSec community, planes get updated and receive their updates. You want to take a guess? Take a guess real quick in chat. How would a plane get its update? I'll tell you. A floppy disk. The 3.5-inch floppy disk. You know, the one that had the little door that slid? You know, when you loaded Windows 3.0 and 3.11 and DOS on? Yeah. All that technology from the yesteryear is still being used in planes. Goes to show you just how much the airplane Wi-Fi is janky, right? Anybody who's ever been on a flight has done Wi-Fi on a plane kind of knows that that thing's a hot mess express, right? It's about, you know, about as effective to be able to look at your text messages and maybe your social media, but you're not getting any real work done. So, you know, if they can't even pipe it over a Wi-Fi connection or something like that, then, you know, whatever. Thank you, DJ B6. So the 737 MAX 8 is what they stopped production on because of the new software. So DJ B6 in the know when all things aviation. All right, let's get on to the next story, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, play.
Atlassian releases patches for Bamboo, Confluence, Crowd, and Jira.
I'm going to stop it right there. All right, we'll play the rest of it. So if you're with CISO Seers, just bear with me a second. Those who want to hear this, that at what point do you stop using a piece of software that's always getting vulnerabilities every freaking week? It's like every week or every 2 weeks. Oh, I'm going to get canceled today. I knew it.
In its August 2024 security bulletin, the company highlights patches for the Bamboo data center and server, the Bouncy Castle Java dependency, Confluence Data Center and Server, and the Apache Tomcat dependency of Jira Data Center and Server and Jira Service Management Data Center. A link to the bulletin with all the details is available in the show notes to this episode.
It's actually right here as well. Let's see. Will my internet be... Okay, so let's zoom this thing in. Those, if you're watching, let me move this. Let me do this. I just posted the link in chat. I know my video is a few moments delayed. So yeah, we got a denial service. We have cross-site scripting forgery. Oh, this is just a hot mess express. Oh. Seriously, ladies and gentlemen, if you're still using Atlassian and their services, I mean, come on. Okay, so look, seriously, June 18th, May, April, March, February, January, December, November. Okay, so it's not every week or two. It feels like it, though. But every month they are coming out with massive, more cross-site scripting, information disclosures, more DDoS. Oh, RCE, remote command execution. Another RCE. I mean, come on. Look, I'm all for, you know, patching your crap and getting things done. But when you're using a piece of software that constantly needs to be maintained because of these exploits, you really need to take a good, long, hard look in the mirror, ladies and gentlemen. Like, do we really need to be using this software? It is a viable risk to our organization. You know, look at the data that you are storing in there. You know, hypothetically, if it's just you're just using it for ticketing as a ticketing system, and no sensitive information is being sent over to it, then maybe it's okay. But you know, this is just a patch manager's worst nightmare. You know, pen tester's wet dream, if I may. But anyway, take a long, hard look. I mean, this is kind of what it goes into vulnerability management. So, do you need to be using a software that's constantly got problems, constantly has RCEs? I mean, these are not just bugs. These are freaking exploits, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. Shut up, Jessup. Oh, great. See, Spotify is not wanting to work on me now. All right, let's try this a different way. Stand by, ladies and gentlemen. Stand by to stand by. There we go.
Windows Recall to reappear. Microsoft is deploying an updated version of its Recall feature, which had been initially announced this spring and immediately derided by industry analysts as keylogger software or spyware. The idea behind Recall was to take snapshots of a user's desktop every few seconds as a tool for keeping track of things. It was removed from widespread Copilot Plus PC release on June 13th, but will now be deployed to testers in the coming weeks. Microsoft has not fully clarified how the new version will differ, but has said it will include what it calls just-in-time decryption, and that Windows insiders would need a Copilot Plus PC.
Take a deep breath, Eric. All right, so those who don't know, Recall was literally a screen capture program that was being released by Microsoft, so that way you could go back in time, almost like a time machine, almost like snapshots, things of that nature, and be able to say, oh, what in the world did I do on Bed Bath & Beyond's website, or what did I do on my Bass Pro Shop cart, right? Somehow my cart is empty now, and I don't remember what I had in there, and you can be able to go back and be able to look at that type of stuff, right? So snapshot or the Recall was supposed to help you with that, but as we were looking, and even I have one here, nice little Windows PC or Surface that has the fancy smancy Copilot button there. So we were going through testing, and yeah, just like everybody else is saying, a standard user could be able to look at any of the images that were on the device. You didn't need to be an administrator. You didn't need anything special. You were just able to do it. And for me, that was a major problem. I know DJ Bisek was talking about it a while back that, from a technical administrative, you got HR, you got, developers, you got all these things that are snapshotting these things. And it was a big problem. Threat actors would be able to take it and be able to see, stuff that's, part of their data exfiltration. They'll just start going through your Recall and see, what was the banking account information, how much money they potentially have, what other potential sensitive information. I do know, this will be a shameless plug, so sorry about that. We will go, and thankfully I removed my stupid chat bot on my website now, because that thing was just, it would never stop, no matter how many times I told them, hey, please stop the bot between 8 and 9. So I'm just like, F it, I don't care anymore. In our blog, we did put in here how to disable Copilot on your new devices. I'll post that in chat if you are so interested. But we literally have the PowerShell commands here, so you can be able to disable the Copilot feature, and that will help disable your Recall if that is of interest. And of course, legal disclaimer, use at your own risk. Well, I've tested it; it's worked pretty well. But the Surface that I have, just in full disclosure, is like 2 versions behind. So please test it. I haven't tested on the latest and greatest versions. Your mileage may vary. But yeah, if you can be able to keep Recall out of your organization, look, unless you need it for your organization and specific department, Do everything you can to keep that BS out of your computer. Just do it. It has no business there. It's a massive cybersecurity incident. Looking at you, Atlassian. It's freaking Microsoft. Let's force things down people's throat that they don't want. Anyway.
Thanks to today's episode sponsor, Nudge Security. Do you know who's using Gen AI tools in your organization? Find out today with Nudge Security. Their patented approach to SaaS discovery gives you a full inventory of all apps ever introduced by anyone in your organization in minutes, including Gen AI apps. And automated workflows help you scale security and governance without breaking a sweat. Start a free trial today at nudgesecurity.com/GenAI. That is NUDGE security.com/GenAI. Google.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is that part of the stream. Let me turn down my audio so I don't make everybody deaf in a moment. Where we just jaw jack for a second during our mid-roll. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. I do see 313 of you sexy mofos in here, so thank you so much. This is that part of the show where I do like to talk about the Simply Cyber Community Challenge. That is a hashtag. If you drop in to the chat right now, !community, it will take you right to a LinkedIn page that's already pre-curated and be able to show you anybody who's using that hashtag and automatically filter by the latest people. And this really is a story or a place where you can go in and tell your story, how you got into cybersecurity, how you are doing, what exactly you're doing, things of that nature. And currently, St. Paul Brown, I'll post his link here, but he had the baton holder. Let's see if St. Paul Brown is in chat. Oh, yes he is. Yes he is. What's going on, buddy? Tom, please. So St. Paul Brown, please be mindful in chat. If you are interested in telling your cybersecurity story and saying how you got into it, what you like, what you don't like, help educate other people getting into the industry to be able to know the pros and cons of everything, that would be awesome. Mods will be watching in the chat to help make that transition very, very effectively easy. Thank you so much, Jenny Housley, for keeping us on track and making that a wonderful, wonderful experience. With that, we do have, let me just minimize all of this, zoom this over, that we do like to do the James McQuiggan's joke of the week, and let me get that up. All right, here we go. James McQuiggan from 30,000 feet has his jokes been submitted. Why are Microsoft employees never relaxed? Why are Microsoft's employees never relaxed? Because they're always on edge. I really need that sounder. That one's actually pretty cute. I like that one. Next joke. Jerry's Xbox, PS5, and Switch all broke on the same day. He was inconsolable. Oh, did I mess up his name? Sorry, Mr. Powell. I guess I called you Mr. Brown. My apologies. All right, the third joke. When a person who invented the USB passes away, they will lower the coffin into the grave, realize they put it in the wrong way, and then have to do it again. Then they realize they had it right the first time. The pains of actually trying to stick that USB drive in the back, and you know, you're trying to figure out which way it goes and everything like that. Yeah. So let's correct the mid-roll. Yep. So St. Paul Powell's. Sorry about that, brother. We will. But yeah, definitely. If you're not connected with him, please definitely connect with this gentleman. suppose. All right, with that, let's get on to the second phase of this one. We're running a little bit ahead, ladies and gentlemen. So do that.
Fixes another high-severity Chrome flaw.
Yay!
The fix is the 9th for 0 days in Chrome since the start of this year, and this one has been confirmed as being under active exploitation in the wild. It is described as a type confusion bug in the V8 JavaScript and WebAssembly engine, which allows a remote attacker to exploit heap corruption via a crafted HTML page. This is according to a description of the bug in the NIST vulnerability database. Users of Chrome, as well as of Chromium-based browsers such as Microsoft Edge, Brave, Opera, and Vivaldi, are advised to apply the fixes as and when they become available. U.S. charges Karakurt gang's cold case collector. An FBI...
Stop telling me, Jiminy Christmas. Did he say a heat bug? I thought I closed Teams. Bear with me. Wrong window. Sorry if I just triggered everybody with Teams. I'll have to go back and look at this one. I could have swore he said something about a heat bug with the browser. Security full of that. And yep. I'm not seeing it at the moment. But anyway, definitely go patch your stuff. Chrome is becoming that vulnerability just like Atlassian. Everything is just jacked up. So this is just another story. You gotta patch it. Come on, Spotify. While I'm waiting on Spotify to work again. Dadgummit. It looks like we do have a baton passed or has accepted the baton, Mr. Brian Clark. Thank you so much for accepting the baton, good sir. All right, so we're 3 minutes, 17 seconds left. Let me reload. Oh, cool. It actually...
An FBI investigation has determined that 33-year-old Denis Zolotaryov was a member of the Karakurt ransomware and extortion group. He is a Latvian national who lived in Moscow until being arrested in December 2023 and extradited to the U.S. earlier this month. Zolotaryov's role was to, quote-unquote, negotiate so-called cold case extortions for the Karakurt operation when communication after the attack had halted without a ransom being paid. He was tracked down through cryptocurrency tracing, communication analysis, and data obtained from search warrants executed on rocket.chat, linking him to the extortion and money laundering activities.
So those who don't know, let me educate, because this is the real house that I live in. So if you're new to the space and... Sorry, just checking up on my chat. So Curacao is a threat actor group that was around for many years. There's rumor that they may be coming back in due time. But this individual was essentially, like it said in the story, was handling what's called cold cases. So let's say hypothetically, your organization was impacted. You didn't pay the ransomware note, right? But they were known for data exfiltration. So, you had good backups, you had whatever, and you were able to restore in an effective manner and not have to pay the ransomware for negotiation. And you didn't believe there was any sensitive information that warranted a payment for non-disclosure. This gentleman would go through all that data and curate it and try to say, hey, we have this intellectual property, we have this sensitive information, we have all these things, and we want a payment or we're going to disclose it. A lot of times this individual would actually contact your victims. This would be, 6 months, 8 months, a year down the road, and try to, get money out of them as well. CureCat didn't have a massive disclosure site. That this is a little bit of the earlier days of ransomware. If memory serves me right, they primarily operated out of email, things of that nature. So, it's not like you could go on to their leak site and be able to download the data and do public notifications based off of that. So, they are one of the Wild Wild West, just rogue ransomware groups that was just out there. Just checking on mod chat to make sure. Okay, on to the next story, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if this is going to work.
Unified Teams app connects personal and work accounts.
No.
A new unified Teams application launched by Microsoft, quote, allows Windows and Mac users to switch between personal, work, and education accounts without installing multiple apps, and also helps users switch between accounts without signing out and signing in again, and allows them to join meetings without logging into an account, end quote. Microsoft Teams will be available as a single application, enabling users to seamlessly switch between multiple cloud environments, tenants, and account types across personal and work, the Windows Insider team said.
No. Microsoft, what in the Sam are you doing? You're trying to make me jump out of a window. Look, I get it for the ease of the user. This is a major win, right? It's like, oh, I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. Just imagine for a second, you are working in a government sector. You're working in, information security. You're working in whatever, and you have sensitive information. You have IP, intellectual property. You have trade secrets. You have this. You have that. Is a savage I don't want to grow up to be. Oh, Rich, yeah, definitely. So side topic. Rich says, Eric Taylor is a savage I don't want to grow up to be. Good. You're like my sister. I told her. I was like, look at what I did and do the complete opposite. Don't be like me. Anyway, Microsoft is now allowing people to potentially just switch their, the tenant that you're logging into, which they did for businesses. So you can, for those who didn't know, you could be part of multiple organizations in the Teams app, and then you can be able to switch your businesses. That was already a little bit of a problem because, you could be able to upload potential sensitive information to the wrong tenant, things of that nature. It was still a different thing. But now you have personal access and be able to take information out of your company's organization and upload it to your personal. So let's say you're planning on quitting today. You're going to start exfiltrating all that data through a potential legitimate application inside of your organization called Microsoft Teams, so that we can be able to use it at your next job, or you sell it off, or whatever. And guess what? Info security folks are not going to notice this information. We're not. Sorry, I'm stuttering, but it literally pisses me off. Like, we're not going to be able to notice that because it's legitimate, approved traffic. Right? Until you actually do the forensics of like, okay, it was on this OS, it was actually beaconing to this tenant ID. That tenant ID is actually a person, so it actually requires investigation. We actually have to look up the tenant IDs to figure out, is this a business or a personal one? I really hope Microsoft releases a some sort of GPO or something in Intune, Endpoint Manager, things of that nature, so that way you can actually block personal access and prevent people from exfiltrating data from inside the organization to people's personal accounts. Yeah, DJ Basic. Yeah, you can just switch from business accounts to business accounts, right? So. Just checking up on mod chat. Don't think I froze for a second, please. Rosemond, no, I don't think they do any research at all. I think they just push out stuff. The public will love this idea. Hopefully the InfoSec community comes out. I mean, this should be a pretty easy limitation to put in place from Microsoft. I just hope they do it beforehand. All right. Me going to Microsoft and yelling at them like the old man, freaking young, get off my yard. Nobody's going to listen to me. But there's a lot of bigger names in the space that hopefully they start sounding an alarm bell if Microsoft is not paying attention to this garbage.
2 years later, Log4Shell, still being exploited.
Of course it is.
This is according to researchers at Datadog Security Labs, who said, quote, cybercriminals are still finding targets for Log4Shell exploits that evade detection and plant malware scripts on unpatched corporate systems, end quote. This is due to vulnerabilities that remain unpatched, even though fixes have been made available for some time. Security experts have warned that eradicating the problem will be a long, laborious process because of software dependencies and so-called transitive dependencies that make patching very difficult. Datadog, for example, has noted nation-state APT actors linked to China, Iran, North Korea, and Turkey using obfuscated LDAP requests, that is an active directory protocol, to evade detection, leading to the execution of malicious scripts on compromised systems. As usual, we've got a...
Not yet. I think that's the last one. So yeah, this just goes into what I beat Joseph up about and everybody else. You know, a lot of folks will. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that the Log4Shell, if memory serves me correctly, because it's been a while since I dealt with this one. You had the actual application, and then you had the binaries. And a lot of applications would use those binary files to, be able to load and execute. If you're not going through your entire application stack, you're not going to be able to find all the Log4Shell. That's why you really need to have do your own homework. And be able to, see mod chat. You need to know your applications. You need to know what's the underlying pinning of these applications to be able to know the technology that's being used. I know it's a daunting task, and especially for smaller organizations. But you just got to do it, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, this is unacceptable. Where it all began. So everybody's asking in mod chat, asking Joseph where I hurt him. Like I'm over there punching him in the head or something like that. Quit hitting yourself, quit hitting yourself. All right, I think that's the last story.
Busy Friday of live stream.
Yep. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me turn down this audio so I don't blast you. Yep, stop hitting yourself, stop hitting yourself. Exactly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just tuning in for the news, I know we just kind of ran through this thing a little bit. There really wasn't a whole lot that I could really go into real deep dives. Like, one, you got to patch it. Number two, start vetting your applications. If you're starting to see a bunch of vulnerabilities month after month, especially with the severity that Atlassian is, definitely, start evaluating that software. Like, we really need to potentially talk about moving away from Atlassian, things of that nature. And watch out for airplanes that need more IoT for their engines and garbage. So that's really the biggest things that was on the radar. Oh, and the recall thing. So be on the lookout for recall coming back to a computer near you. Definitely check out that script and see if it's applicable to your organization. That way you can potentially mitigate and stop recall from getting launched in your organization by disabling Copilot. Again, we'll have to wait to see when Copilot goes into full launch to see if disabling, or if recall goes into launch, to see if disabling Copilot disables that relaunch feature, or if you can do it post-mortem, things of that nature. We'll probably do a talk about that in time once this comes out. We'll try it both ways and see kind of what happens. May need to update the script a little bit to help get that thing taken care of. But again, if you are here just for the news, we'll give you back your day 15 minutes early to be able to get going. Remember, we are going to pivot into the jaw-jacking session where we'll have a panel of folks coming in, and we will have some questions coming up. If you have questions for myself or anybody else on the panel that's coming up, please type in the Q : and go into your question. Mods will take it. DJ VSEC is in the background. He's going to pin it, so we will run through them. And with that, take care of yourselves. Drop this Chiron, because it's not all about me. And we'll bring up our good buddy, DJ B-Sec.
Oh, I'm tiny.
You are tiny. You're a little guy. What's going on, bud?
I'm not hitting myself.
You're just not hitting yourself. Not hitting yourself. You doing all right?
Yeah. I'm already seeing questions. The stuff that I sent this morning, people are asking about Halliburton. It's like, yeah, I don't understand why that wasn't one of the things in CISO series this morning. That's a big deal.
It is a big deal. And if you want to talk about that, you definitely can.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up to go through it. I haven't dug through all of it. I mean, of course, I saw the headline, 2 days ago, and then I saw this morning the confirmation by Halliburton. So,
1 second. I do need to ask my next person I'm going to introduce.
you got Halliburton and you got the killing ransomware. There was two big ones that. Oh, my mic is quiet. Are you?
It is.
Me?
It is. I thought it was my headset because I got it down. Well, hold on. Let me check.
I turned it down.
My headset was on 14, so.
Yeah, I turned it down because it's so loud in my ear. But, all right, I'll turn it up.
All right, let me turn myself down. I'm going to yell at mods real quick, and we'll bring in our next person here.
Is that better, chat? Everybody better now?
All right, next person that we'll bring up is Brad, a.k.a. Theo, infamous penetration tester.
Oh.
Brad, you want to tell us who you work for and a little bit about yourself for those like myself who have never come across you before today?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, good to see you both, Eric and DJ BSEC. I'm Theo. I go by Brad out in the real world. I go by Theo to some people. I work for a company called Shield Surge, and we do penetration testing services. So right now, I'm just I've been doing some web penetration testing, and but I really like hands-on keyboard, like command line stuff. Hey, logs are fun. It's not always fun to like be digging through them and looking through them and stuff, but it's like a needle in a haystack for me. So thanks for having me on again.
Absolutely, bud. Absolutely. And I dropped in his LinkedIn link there. So if y'all want to go out and connect with him, follow him, and that way you can stay up in his world of penetration testing. Well, DJ BSEC, are you ready, or you want me to hit the first question here?
I can go through. I'm reading this. I just put it up here so people can see. I'll actually throw this link in chat as well.
Gotcha. Is that the oil company or?
Yeah. So that.
Yeah.
Halliburton does. They are part of the oil and gas industry, and they're here in Houston, and they're huge. Mm-hmm. Basically, the only thing that's really come out is that something has happened. They have systems that are offline. It's very scarce as to what issues have happened. Halliburton is not a oil refinery company that I'm aware of, but they are an oil service company, meaning they do a lot of drilling oil and stuff here in Texas and around the world. But they're known for having I guess the best way to describe it is the mud that you throw down a oil line or down a well that pumps the actual oil up. So right now it seems like it's happened. It says technical details on the breach remain scarce, but the compromise has all of the hallmarks of a typical ransomware attack, where sensitive data has been encrypted and used in a multi-million-dollar extortion scam. So it's probably I don't know if we'll see something along the lines of a colonial pipeline issue where we actually see government get involved, because Halliburton is big in this area, but I don't think although they are a company that deals with oil, they're not actually producing and having issue, or they're not one that's actually producing the oil or refining the oil, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
So it'd be a supply vendor type of situation.
Yeah, and they're more, like I said, they're more along the lines of a company that is dealing with the wells and dealing with a support. They're more of a support role, I guess. A huge support role, but they're a support role to get the oil out of the ground, which we'll see what comes out.
Not oil.
Yeah, not oil. It says, okay, on here it says, in a statement, Halliburton spokesperson has said, we are aware of issues affecting specific or certain company systems, and we're working to diligently assess the content or the cause and the potential impact. We have activated our prepared plan response for any working blah, 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 the normal stuff.
Well, I could tell you Barricade's not on that list because I'm looking at my phone. I got no calls from them. There you go, man. All right, first question coming up from J.E.M. Michael. Wait, wasn't there just an RCE out coming for Copilot recall, Windows recall story reference? I don't think it was an actual RCE. It was just more of, hey, goofballs, this data is not encrypted as you said it was. And the cyber community went freaking nuts all over it.
Yeah, I saw that too. It didn't take long for that either, for them to dig that up, right?
No,
it was like it was released, and then they started digging through the recall feature, and then they found that all that stuff was unencrypted, which is crazy, especially if you're going to run. I mean, it's crazy in general, but they're going to run AI on it too. They're using AI to process those screenshots.
Yep, that way you can be able to search from it and marathon. Yeah, that's why I was going on a tangent earlier about it with during the stories. Like, you need to disable Copilot if there's not a need for it.
That folder was supposed to be encrypted, right?
Yeah. But it was open to a standard user, and the standard user can look at everybody's. Yeah. I think they have moved it to the user's app data now, but it was just whatever. I don't know. All right, next question. Let me actually remove that one. Question for you, Eric. Oh boy, is there no story today on the Halliburton oil? Oh, yep. Okay.
Yeah.
It just looks like they're running the playbook, right? I mean, they're big. Halliburton's a big company, and they hopefully they do have a playbook that involves, like, how do we talk to media, how do we address this situation. In the next couple of days, maybe you'll see something. But
how do we not talk to media?
How do we not talk to media? Great.
How do we properly fill this through legal?
Yeah,
yeah.
That's exactly. I mean, that's why here, it's kind of crazy because, of course, Halliburton is based here in Houston. That's where I'm at. So for it not to be like, for me not to see that and then see it like in an update on a page that I have on a feed, it's kind of like, whoa, they're doing a good job of hiding what's going on.
All right, question for Mr. Theo here. Oh. How can one make their resume stand out when trying to get into penetration testing?
That's a good question, and I think you guys get that a lot, and I get asked that a lot too. So your resume is just one of the approaches that I think that you need to look at when you're trying to get into pen testing. It needs to have all the common elements. But if you're looking at trying to stand out, I really think you need to look at doing projects, write-ups, and then making that into a blog or a website or something to show to show the employer when you do get in front of them for an interview that you are working on things. You can talk to them about the server that you stood up. You can talk to them about the write-ups you do on Try Hack Me or Hack the Box. So I think that's important to have that, and you can put that link. I've included that link right on my on my resume too. I put my GitHub or my notes or my Obsidian, whatever it is that I have published. But also, and I'm going to pivot into, but because I can't stress it enough, networking, LinkedIn and face to face. I think those are that face to face is still very important.
How is, I guess, pivoting from that, do you have any techniques for the introverts? Because most of us in this industry are introverts. How would you recommend the introverted people doing those face-to-face networking?
Yeah, so that's another good one. I'm the same way. I am introverted. I have a battery. It's been, people describe it as a battery, and I have a battery when I get into social situations, and I think I come out pretty strong, but I get depleted pretty fast. That being said, knowing that I have that battery, you still have to go out and practice it. Like if you go out and practice it, then you can make more of an impact with how much, how much battery you have for those social situations. And as you keep putting yourself in those situations, you're going to get better at it. And maybe you improve your battery time as you're out there, out and about with people. But it's important that you get out there. You keep doing it. Like the first time you go to a networking event, you may, if you're an introverted, you may not be the best in many situations, but you have to keep doing it to keep practicing, get better at it.
Exactly. Yeah, for me, I'm massively introverted. Joseph works for me. He knows that, things like this is easier because, we're all already diving into, topics that we know and we all love. And it's easy to kind of pivot from, because I did network administration, system administration with Black Box and had Cisco certs and all that. And so I played a little bit in the pen testing world, so I can easily pick up and have those conversations with folks. But, it's like, hi, how are you? Uh, Nice weather, right? Like that whole, but yeah, it's definitely, it is, I totally get that and use that analogy a lot with battery because I will get so drained. It's like, oh, I just need to take a step away. So like when I'm at social events and we're doing the whole networking stick and everything, I try to have like two conversations and I try to go outside for 10 minutes. Just to step away, and then I'll try to come back and have two more and then step away. So that way, otherwise it will be a, sorry, Kennedy, it'll be a shit show.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I don't think I've tried that before. I'll have to try that.
What's up, Joseph?
What's going on?
Hi, Joseph.
How you doing?
Joseph.
Am I muted?
No,
No.
we hear you.
Okay. All right. I was like, is my headset on? I can hear people, so I'd assume yes. But
All
at
right.
the same time, you never know.
I'm yelling at mods to get more mods in here. Kimberly needs to get off the couch. And Jesse needs to get out of the shower.
Jesse's out of the shower. Jesse's driving to work.
Oh, well, he could call from the car. Anyway, question. Could this be the top 50 company that paid
No.
the large? No.
No, this just happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is something that we say it just happened. I think it probably happened
Yesterday?
Sunday night, Monday morning, and then yeah, because we heard it. It came out Wednesday that something was up.
And I think yesterday was actually like, yeah, this is potentially a ransomware situation.
Yeah.
All right, let's get rid of that question. Whoop. Sorry, I know you're doing that, BJ, and I'm messing with you. Have you tried Vagrant, Packer, Ansible to make vulnerable machines fast? I assume so. I know of Ansible, if that's how you pronounce it. That's like a container of VM. I'm assuming he's talking about different hypervisors to build up vulnerable VMs. So
I could speak to that. I mean, I haven't used any of the. I've used Vagrant before, not Packer and Ansible. I just haven't gotten there. Ansible's for automating too, isn't it?
I think so. I mean, I know it comes with its own
Well,
hardware and stuff like that too. It's like it almost looks like a NUC almost.
yeah, but I haven't. I mean, I've used Vagrant to spin up vulnerable machines, but to make them faster. I mean, I would, if you're talking about like Metasploit. The Metasploit's a Metasploitable. I'm sorry, is an intentionally vulnerable machine. I mean, you could just give more RAM, give more memory, right?
Yeah. And then you have things like Juice Shop and Damn Vulnerable Web App and all those other specifically vulnerable machines. I kind of blanked on the word for a minute there.
Yeah. All right, move that one. Looks like another question for Mr. Theo. What are some hot vulnerabilities you're looking at for an engagement? Any trends?
I'm learning JWTs. It was JSON or Java or I'm spacing on it. I think it was JSON web tokens. I'm learning about them. I've done cookie manipulation before. These tokens are a little bit more complicated than that. You have, and I'm learning about it. So I may, if I get something wrong, please correct me. But you have this token in there, and then it's the token is split up into a couple of different categories, and you can make it more pretty to visualize it. But once you decode it, it's JSON information. So you have user and you have pass or user and a token and other things that are mixed in there. So JWT token manipulation, and I believe Portswigger Labs has labs on how to get better at that.
They do. I just dropped them in the chat right there.
Cool.
Portswigger is a great resource for web app penetration testing.
Mm-hmm.
Agree.
All right. I think one of the best ways to handle a conversation with one or more people is adapt to their personality. That's okay. It's difficult, but once you have that skill, you're able to have a conversation with anyone. That almost sounds psychopathic to me.
No, I understand what they're trying to say, and yes, it is a conversation technique. You're not trying so much to adapt to their personality as you are trying to establish a rapport. You want to establish some form of common ground with the person you're talking to, and then it can be more natural. But when you're breaking the ice and you're first initially meeting someone, you have no idea what to say unless you already know something about them. So kind of getting those feeling the water questions to see how this person reacts to certain questions is going to help you kind of figure out how to take the conversation. It's not so much like cloning and downloading their personality and booting it into your head as it
Not
is
yet,
just
anyways.
figuring out, yeah. As it is just figuring out how to talk to them.
Give you a lot, a
the
couple
Neuralink
years.
in. Yeah, you'll have the Neurolinks in there.
Dude, you
You
see,
don't have to talk. You're just thinking to other people.
there was something that came out yesterday or I think this week. Sorry, days are blending together with all the crap going on. Where somebody was actually playing Call of Duty with the Neuralink.
Wow.
Playing it.
Like on the console or the PC or something like that, but they weren't using like the keyboard or the Xbox controller or anything like that. They were just thinking, and it's like, oh, shoot this guy here, you walk here.
I wonder
I
they
wonder
did
how
that.
real that is.
I don't know.
I saw the first guy was playing chess. I saw a video of him playing chess. So the next one, or someone else, you said it has the Neuralink was playing Call of Duty. That's impressive. I'd like to see that video.
I'd like to know how they're linking up. Does it like have Bluetooth into it?
It's all fun
I
and
mean,
games
how is the
until-
Neuralink hooking into Xbox or the PC or something along those lines?
It's all fun and games until they want to like rage pitch their controller and they have to like take the Neuralink out.
Yeah,
Dude, every time. So this is going to get a little adultish. Okay,
Uh-oh.
so get your kids out of the room. Every time I
Hide
think
your
about
kids,
the
hide your
Neuralink,
wife.
yeah, exactly. Every time I think of the Neuralink, I just think of a certain adult plug that keeps getting hacked by
Oh, yeah.
Bluetooth, and I'm like, It's just going to take a while until they figure out that,
Yeah.
and they just start making you hit yourself.
No.
Yeah.
Eric's into hitting himself.
I'm out of crayons, so
Needs a new box of crayons to eat.
Well, they make them in those mega packs now.
Yeah.
All those different colors.
115 crowns. Let's see, we got another one. How do you handle a team lead who keeps pushing back OS patches? What? Just by using the argument, we're good now. If we patch it, Microsoft's gonna. So, I mean, we could let Joseph.
I mean,
this.
that's a sound argument.
I'm about to say we need the stronger stuff here.
So here's the deal with this question. This makes me think that your patches are done all at once across the board to everybody, and that there aren't patch rings set up, because you should be, and the team lead should know this. You shouldn't patch everything. Like within the industry, you're wanting to set up rings. So you take 10 or 15 people, maybe one in each department, because maybe the departments have a different setup on their machine. But you patch all of those and you let them run for a couple of days. And does something blow up or something break? And if not, then you push it to the next ring and you go, inside out. A small group, a bigger group, and then by the time you get to the outside ring, everybody's updated. It's usually how it's supposed to be done. I know a lot of people, a lot of companies just force everything. So I'll let Joseph talk on it. Mr. Vulnerability Management.
How you feel about that?
Yeah. I mean, really, it's what BSEC said. You have to test your patches. And I usually have a test group in each environment that I push it to first, and then I just monitor chats. And if they say, "Hey, this shit's breaking our environment," I go, "All right, I'm not going to push the rest of them." But if I hear nothing and it's all crickets, then I push the rest of them, and they don't even notice, because most of the time their machines reboot overnight if they reboot. I think the harder part is getting them to actually get the patches installed.
Yeah. They're pushed and sitting there, and actually getting somebody to restart the machine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To me, that's the biggest problem. And that's the problem that I see in environments is you get on, you get your list and you're like, why are none of these machines patched? This is like a month-old patch. It should be in there. And then you go and look and you get on the person's machine and it's like, well, it's been installed, but it needs to restart. Or the patches that are waiting that need to be installed aren't installing because there was a patch before it that installed and needs to reboot to allow the other ones to patch, and people aren't restarting their machines.
Mm-hmm. And then you check the uptime and it's been on for 4,000 days and you're like, this is never going to get rebooted.
Yeah.
Got it.
Accidentally hit the reboot button remotely.
Oops.
Sorry, you're rebooting.
Or, I mean, you send over a PowerShell script and just have it run as a task.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Quick question: where was the
so here
company
it is.
that guy was working at?
Yeah.
All right,
I've
so
got
I
some
found
services
the story.
for them.
I just want to reach out to
So I'll drop this in chat, but here is the story that I was seeing. It wasn't Call of Duty, it was Counter-Strike. But they were actually using the Neuralink to actually play Counter-Strike.
He was rolling crates with his brain.
Something. I actually seen the video. The part that was not disclosed, and again, this could be complete shenanigans, but you didn't see the actual person doing it. It was just the video capture of this. So that, take it with a grain of salt. It could have been, it could have been somebody on a keyboard, on a controller, on whatever, and just playing it and saying it was part of the Neuralink. But at least the story is out.
I can't wait for it to be like a widely accessible thing where everybody's playing games with their Neuralink, because the smack talk is going to get so crazy. They can't blame the fact, they can't blame the fact that their controller's bad or their keyboard's bad. It's your brain, bro. Your brain is
Start trolling
Brain
people.
sucks.
Your
Yeah.
brain sucks.
You need some crack.
This is a funny comment. I'm beginning to feel like all those shows that seemed so far fetched when they came out were scarcely ahead of the game. That's what it's always like that, right? So 10 years ago, this was just somebody in a back room creating a movie about something that's going to be big, bad, and scary, and everybody's like, that's not going to happen.
Has anybody watched the trend? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, and then all of a sudden, we've got microchips in our brain.
Yeah.
Like, I want to go back, and because more and more as I get older and people are mentioning episodes of The Simpsons and how they were so far ahead of their time.
Yeah.
Between them and certain episodes of South Park, where the crap that they were discussing that's like this is so far-fetched, they were actually predicting it almost within like a year or two of it actually effing happening.
Well, and that's what everybody's like, what is it, Matt Groening? He's like, he's a time traveler. He's a time traveler. He goes in time travels and sees what's going on and comes back and then writes it and puts it in The Simpsons.
So we have a question from Larry Shervington Jr. Not really cyber related, but any recommendations for getting started on building my own PC? First time attempt, any good video recommendations or YouTube follows for PC building? And then he said, thanks, go Bucks.
I
I'm gonna
think
have some like low. Oh, good.
I think his best bet will probably be, even though I don't really care for his videos or anything like that, but the Linus Tech Tips dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For building PCs, yeah.
Because he does a lot of them like live, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even if you're trying to like figure out the lay of the land on like what what you got to do or what not to do, just you can watch a few of those. My low level advice is I use PC part picker to make sure I don't have something that like a power supply that's not good enough.
Because none of us have ever done that before.
Yeah.
I have about 3 pieces of advice. First piece of advice, if you feel like you're forcing it, it's in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
Insert adult comment here.
Do it, hammer it. The rubber mallet action.
Oh, yeah.
Advise against that. Got it. Okay.
Why is this GPU not going in here?
Yeah. If you feel like you're forcing it, it's in the wrong spot. Part 2. Yeah, I know, Eric. Part 2, you don't have to have your first build be a supercomputer. Everything's very plug and play now, so you can start with a pretty crappy build and work your way up, getting piece by piece as you want. The most important thing I would say is probably you don't want to skimp out on your CPU. Everything else can be replaced very, very easily. The CPU is kind of a pain. And then part 3 would be, oh crap, I lost it. So it was make sure it fits, adult. Don't build a supercomputer, and I can't remember the third one. It's Friday.
I hear about this. This is anytime I've gotten this question, I've always advised people get a Raspberry Pi and try to put that thing together. If you can get that to boot, and you're able to mess around with that a little bit, then you can escalate to a PC. I mean, when I was growing up, hashtag old people. We didn't have, Raspberry Pis and all this other stuff, except for the one that mom was baking in the oven. But you have some very cheap, inexpensive devices that, you'll quickly learn what a static discharge is on a motherboard if you're doing it wrong. And you won't be out potentially a couple $1,000s on a custom build.
Yeah, I remember my third one. I always buy a power supply that's like 200 or 300 watts more than I need, just in case I'm going to upgrade that thing in the future and it needs more power.
Yeah.
Look here, Tim the Tool Man Taylor.
Taking notes. It's time.
Kim says I've been hanging around Eric too long. No, I've just been on the internet for a majority of my life.
Time to get that Raspberry.
Raspberry Pis are a little expensive, but I think the full kit
they're still
is way
under $100,
cheaper than-
right?
Yeah, you can get them for $100, but honestly, like building, quote unquote, building a Raspberry Pi, you're not really building it. It's a board, and it comes with some
putting it
heat
together.
sinks that you're shoving heat sinks on the parts, and then you're learning because it comes with nothing on it. So now you've got to actually build it up. So how do I get an OS on there? How do we get it started? Those type of things. How do I make sure that it actually works on the monitor that I have?
Oh, and always remember to buy a copy of whatever OS you're going to use, unless you're going to use Linux. And usually you can only buy Windows anyways. If you want Mac, you have to buy a Mac. But
Says you. I
well,
can run
you can do a virtual machine of it, yes. But I'm saying that
Very special
at that point, you would need a hypervisor to be on your bare metal. But
No, you can run. You can run. This Surface, I can get this darn thing to load a Mac OS
Yeah, I don't
on
run
it.
on Intels now. I mean, Mac OS
yes.
runs on Intel.
yeah. But what are you
If you
using
get
to
the
run
RAM.
it? Are
A
you using a
Surface.
hypervisor?
No, I'll put it on the. I'll put it on the bare metal.
Yeah, you can dual boot.
Not. Yeah. I would just. I've
Used to
never
be
been a
that
fan.
Mac used to be very, very picky about how it
Oh
was
yeah,
booted.
absolutely.
Well, it was until they went and
Intel.
well, they went Intel #1, and then they had the whole back and forth with Microsoft where, hey, we're gonna actually put Office on Macs, and then it kind of progressed into moving into Intel and then being able to put OS on Intel.
Yeah, I don't use Microsoft, or I don't use Mac, so I didn't know it got easier. I just remember the one time I tried to do Mac virtualization, and it was a nightmare, and I just was like, nah, never. I'm good.
Yeah, most people will keep it, and then they'll use oh, I just left my brain. It's a virtual. Whoa, Eric's gone. Parallels. They'll use Parallels to run.
Sorry, I had an itchy nose, and I didn't want somebody to think I was sitting here picking my brain or something. Some things you step off a camera for. It's called etiquette.
Oh, is that what it is?
Darn
don't have a-
tootin'.
So we don't have a lot of questions. In Kimberly threw something in mod chat and said we should talk about this. So yesterday when I went through the little demo, I did throw up a dark reading about human nature and how it's causing cybersecurity problems. I was just going to throw that around. Like in this, it's basically talking about how us as practitioners don't spend the time to actually update everything, to actually put stuff in place. We procrastinate as humans and as individuals. We will procrastinate on anything we don't necessarily want to do. So like when it comes to upgrading our systems or upgrading something along those lines, we look at it and go, yeah, that needs to be done, but I don't really want to spend time updating 150 machines today or start pushing this stuff out. I guess honestly what we look at it is, I'm going to do all this is to cause more problems, and I don't want to deal with that right now. So how would you go about, I guess, explaining to people why we should, even though you don't want to do it, it should be done?
I pull up the FBI statistics on costs of ransomware and costs of business email compromise. And I tell them, how much would you like to spend? A few man hours or $1.5 million?
Getting it like 1.2 or something like that right now is
Yeah.
the average, something like
Yeah.
that.
That's
It's
the
around
average. So you have, of course, you have some that are a couple thousand and some that are tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on how they value it, really. You have no idea what the price is going to be until the threat actor names their price.
And sometimes they don't know what they have or
Nope.
don't have.
Nope. Sometimes they'll just pull a bunch of data and think they hit a gold mine, and then really they have like trash files from recycle bins.
Yeah. Was it the AT&T stuff a month ago or something where they were like, oh, we hit, and then AT&T basically came back and said something along the lines of, well, that data is like 2 or 3 years old.
Yeah, we've
And
been
then
seeing
it's like, yeah,
several
but
of
you got
them.
metadata in there and stuff that you could actually fish through.
Yeah.
How about yourself, Theo? How would you go about convincing? It's kind of easier because you're a third-party pen tester.
He's
So
like, I would not
I
convince
know.
them.
This is
Yeah.
terrible advice. Never. No,
Never patch.
yeah,
Never patch. Sounds like a lot of work. Oh no, like it's complicated, really,
Mhm.
is the answer. I mean, there's so much involved. I mean, there's man hours involved, there's money involved, there's, again, like you talked about, DJ Basek, about human nature. And I'm really interested in that part of it, because, like, one of the things I'm really interested right now in, I leave my DMs open for, like, on my Snapchat or my Discord or on my Twitch. And I just have, I mean, there's all I see all the scams as they come through. And it's amazing to me that the people are still falling for this, the graphics artist scam that's going around right now, or the cryptocurrency scams, and, or, click this link and then go here. Like, as much as we talk about these things about, like, don't click on links, and, to pause before you're sending people money, or take a minute. Like, it's complicated, and the human nature, like, that gets involved in that too. Like, it's just, I guess, to make a long explanation, a long answer longer, like, like, all you could do is, I think, just show people, talk to them about how complicated it is, and then show the comparison that you talked about, like the money versus the hours.
Right.
I mean, it when you put it in focus like that, it's a little easier. But, like DJ Bisek, like, you're in it, right? Like, you're in that realm of patching and securing, and working with users. Like, it's just complicated. Like, there's a project going on, or no, I have to have my computer now, it's due today. I know, but the
Right.
bad guys are on the network now.
Yeah.
Well, and you
They're
also
already here.
you have to take in effect, when you're talking about this, is unless you actually have somebody like Joseph that is doing patch management, that is doing that for the company. If you've got 3, 4, 5 IT people that are doing all the
Everything.
things, it's hard to go, okay, unless you're going to grab somebody and go, this week your patches, and you're go do it, go knock everything out.
You hand them a handle, a jack.
You're making more work. I mean, you don't want to make more work for yourself. You already, for the most part, those teams already have work as it is, and then you're going, okay, now we got to make more work for ourselves. The other thing with this is, like Joseph was talking about, money wise, and there's a question that popped in about presentations to get funding.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that would come up. Hey, if we don't do this, or more along the lines of the ROI, or the return on investment for doing this, is greater than not doing it. Because if we don't do this, just like Joseph said, it's going to cost us 25 hours. It's going to cost me 25 hours to go do this for the week.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't do it, and I go party on the weekend, and I come back on Monday morning, and I've got ransomware stuff all over my machine, it's going to cost a lot more than the 25 hours. Because guess what? Now it's going to cost all the hours it's going to take for all 5 or 10 or however many of the IT team, the security team, to be working
Plus
on
the
this.
payment of the ransom.
Plus the ransom payment. I mean, there's a lot more to this. So yes, we procrastinate, and we talked about it earlier, of you don't just want to throw all of the patches out instantly, because that can cause another issue. But you've got to have those steps in place to be able to put the patches out, make sure the stuff works, move on, and not procrastinate so long that it's going to come back and bite you in the what.
And I will say, I kind of reminded myself earlier, and when Theo was talking about it, it did bring up a good point. You can get more investor and stakeholder buy-in by hiring somebody like Theo or Theo's company, where they come in and they take the baby that the company thinks they have and just like grab it by the ankle and just start whacking it against walls over and over again.
Here's Joseph's patching mentality.
Yeah, it's very accurate. But they essentially take what you have and just destroy it, and then like throw it back to you all crumpled, and they're like, your baby's ugly. And that is a lot easier to present to your because
But
you
Theo
just pay
does
these
it
people
nicely. They do it nicely. Like, hey, your baby's got an issue, but we can fix it. You know,
with a baseball bat.
The baby's teeth are really messed up, but guess what? We have braces that we can actually put on these teeth and make them better.
They present their findings, and you paid these people, and for whatever reason, companies love to listen to third parties before they listen to the people that they actually have hired.
Yes.
Preach on that, because you and I'm sure we'll get. Well, how many people do we have in here right now? We have 187 people in here.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the 187 people in here, 90% of the people have heard this before. You've gone to your management, upper management, whomever it is. Hey, we need to do this, and they go, okay, that sounds great, but we don't have. We're not going to do it right now. And then you've pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, and then a year later goes by, and you're still sitting over here in the corner, like, hey, we should have been doing this. And they're like, hey, we should bring in a third party to come in and pen test, or hey, let's bring in a third party to kind of oversee everything. And you're like, great. And as a practitioner and somebody in the company, you should be in IT. You should be like, fantastic. Let's do that, because you know what's going to happen. That person's going to come in. They're going to talk to you as the IT person or whatever, and they're going to say, hey, what do you have that's going on? And you're going to say all of this.
Yeah.
If you're not going to, black box, gray box, or whatnot, this is what I have. They go through and hit it all. Then they contact you. If you're the person to contact, they'll contact you, kind of go through everything. And then they're going to present everything that you've been telling for the last year to the people and say, this is what you need to do. And then they go, man, that's a fantastic idea. How much is that going to cost?
idea.
Let's do that. You sit in the corner, you're going to smack yourself in the head, but you go, who cares? It got through. Now we're going to do it. Now let's get it in place.
Yeah. When you hire the pen testers and whatnot, even if it's a black box pen test, you can kind of like lean over to them and be like, hey, if you find this server, all I'm saying is you should really focus on this.
You really should go over this IP address, please.
Just hit this one over and over and over again. And then you slide Theo a crisp 20.
Please.
I'll do it free. No,
Extra attention over here.
yeah. No, that's it's not a shame, but I mean, it is a little bit of a shame that you have to go through that kind of rigmarole to get it, to get things taken care of or patched or secured to keep the company safe.
Well, so here's the crazy thing. The company trusts enough in you to run everything.
Mm-hmm.
It falls off of, hey, I need to have 50 grand to go replace all this stuff and put it in here. And the question is, well, do we need it? Because it's already working. And you're like, well, I mean, no, but we're out of our maintenance window. And because we're out of the maintenance window, we don't get patches anymore. Well, is it internet facing? Well, no, it's not internet facing. But we do have some internet facing stuff. So if that were to get popped, then we're screwed in turn. There's a lot to it. And as you're talking up, right? As you're talking up the chain, the technical prowess is no longer there. You're having to learn how to speak to upper management that aren't technical and explain to them in a way that they understand. And as you move up that chain, they understand money. So you've got to bring the ROI in. If we don't do this, look, it's going to cost me $50,000 to change this in the environment, or to update this in the environment, or to get that maintenance package in place so we can get those updates. And they go, well, that's a lot of money. You say, well, if you don't, it's going to cost you $1.2 million and about 1 month of all of our time when we get hit.
Yep.
And they go, well, maybe we should look at that.
Yep. And I know Jerry's ears are going to start burning. He's in the middle of a conference right now, but this is where a quantified risk assessment comes in. Being able to put asset value in place, being able to determine how much it would cost to do X, Y, and Z. It's where GRC is very important. I know we all make fun of them and stuff them in the locker and whatnot, but they are probably the driving factor for why we can do anything.
That nerd, Dr. Jared.
Oh, all right. We're coming to 8:30. I don't really have any more questions in here.
I'm not seeing any.
I pinned one. Oh, we do have one. Kind of, we're going over stuff. It says, what's been your most successful presentation to a boardroom to get funding?
I throw Eric at them.
And
I mean-
Eric grabs their hand and is like, "Stop hitting yourself! Stop hitting yourself!"
Stop being an idiot. My biggest thing has been once I learned how to do 2 reports when I was in the pen testing world, it made the world of difference. You have your executive report and your technical report.
Yep.
And that has made the world of difference.
Executive report, maybe 1 to 2 pages. Very
Depends on how
top
much,
level.
but
Yeah, top level. And then the report that's coming to IT is basically the report that you wrote up of everything that you found, and them going, "Oh God, I knew it was there anyway, but now it's on paper, so I'm gonna have to do it."
Oh, it's real.
I have to face it now. Yeah.
depending on the organization, sometimes I leaked the technical to the internal IT team the day before
Yeah,
and said, "Hey, just to let you know,
this is
this is
coming.
what I'm sliding you tomorrow. May want to take a look at some of these things." Just so you'd be like, "Oh yeah, we knew about it. We've already started preparing and starting to prep and stuff like that." So, as much as you can look like you are on the technical team side, because at least from digital forensics, every time we come in, they think we're Big Brother and we're going to take them to the wood chippers and beat the snot out of them and laugh at them for small toes or something. I don't know, but they freaking hate us. And
Well, it's invasive. I mean, I understand. It's very invasive. You are taking their personal devices, and basically lifting up the rug and letting all the roaches run out.
Well, and like you said earlier, Joseph, that is their baby, right? That's what they've been doing. They've been the ones that, if they're not the one that's pushing to have somebody come in and look at them, they're the ones that it's their child and it's their stuff, and they've been doing it right, or they haven't been doing it right, and they know they haven't been doing it right, and they've just been kind of pushing it off to the side, and now somebody's going to come in and expose them. Where what you should, as a practitioner, as somebody that's doing that, you should be all for it. Hey, no, please bring somebody in. I can't do everything every day, all day. Bring somebody in, tell me what it is, and you're going to give me, like, on a pen test report, hey, here's your extreme. You have to get this done right now. Here are the things that you should do within the next 30 to 60 days. Once you get through with those, here's the stuff that you should do in the next 90 to 120 days. So that puts together a playbook. It puts together a roadmap. And once you have that in place, now as a team, you can dish it out to whomever is dealing with what it is. It's a good thing. Don't always look at somebody coming in behind you and giving you information as a bad thing.
dish it out like some sloppy joes, sloppy Joe.
How often do you have to present your findings, Theo, or do you just hand them off to a manager and they do it for you?
We would, in a couple instances, if we found something that was like truly alarming or very vulnerable, we would pull the company in immediately and say, "Look, this is an initial finding we found, and you need to take care of it." And of course, have my boss or my manager involved as well. But we just try to be accessible as much as I get it. Like it's their baby, and it's been working, but I try to be just as accessible as possible. Like if you have questions, please let me know. Like I want to be able to help you, or just staying in contact with them. It depends on, I guess, like with the type of pen test that you're doing too. Like there's times when, you're really involved and you're really letting them know that you are, starting it today, and we're starting the web portion today, or we're starting the network portion today, or in some instances, there's, depending on the contract that was signed, is like maybe it's no communication at all unless something's very detrimental. So it just depends on the situation. But whatever it is, it just needs to be explained up front. Eric, I think you talked about that one time in yours as well, about the expectations to the client or the customer about the communication that's coming to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely want to So when we did our pen testing, we always did it from the stance of a threat actor. Um, so we'd want to know very little about your environment, except for, is there anything if we come across something that we should not touch, let me know now. If there's anything that you want me to take extra attention to, let me know now. And that's really the way that I based a lot of those engagements. It's like, okay, kind of like what you were saying, Theo, is like, at what level of severity, if we find something during our engagement, do we stop and we call you in? Like, naturally, we see a threat actor in your environment. Yes, we're going to stop and do that. But, if it's just a vulnerability that's not publicly exploitable, aka no proof of concept or code out there, of course we're going to move on. But if there is an exploitable with proof of code or proof of concept code at release, things of that nature, and could cause do we stop? Just getting your rules of engagement ironed out ahead of time will make a world of difference. Be like, yeah, we seen a threat actor in there. Why don't you effing say something? So
When it comes to that, do you guys tell them what IP address you're coming from, or do you let them find out and see what they do?
now, when I did mine, sorry Theo, but when I did mine, most of ours I was actually using all of Amazon's gateways. So I would use the 2 or 3 on the east, the 2 central, the couple west, Canadian, and 1 from Europe, and I would just hammer. It was almost like a mimic DDoS attack.
Right.
So it was really hard to say which one we were coming from, but I've accidentally brought down networks inadvertently by doing that, unfortunately, with Burp Suite.
Stress testing. Who else is going to do it?
Yeah.
It depends. Yeah, it depends. It just depends on what if you're doing like a true red team engagement, which it sounds like Eric was doing, was that you're acting as a threat actor. This is what could happen. I'm not going to tell you where I'm coming from. But if you're just testing their, what kind of vulnerabilities could exist in there, the best thing they could do is whitelist your IP or whitelist wherever you're coming from and let you in.
Right.
And lower some of those barriers so you can identify, like, there is a CVE on your network, remote code execution in that app. Like, you want them to find stuff like that so you can remediate it ASAP.
Yeah, and the reason I asked was just for that specific. If you don't let them know what's going on, and then all of a sudden they start seeing an IP address going through their systems, they're like, oh, boom, and they block it. Right.
If they see it.
If they see it. Yeah, if they're paying attention.
Yeah.
Because if they don't know that this is actually going on, if you go tell the network team or the security team that's doing the firewalls or whatnot, hey, we have a pen test coming. It's going to be coming from here. If you see that, just let it go. Because they're going to be,
depends.
they may be a little bit noisier than what somebody else would be, but they're actually doing the test because they have a, hey, you can do it for the next 5 days type of timeline. Mm-hmm. They're going to be a little noisier than somebody that's going, oh, I have all the time in the world, so I'm going to come from this address today and this address tomorrow and this address over here. So that's why I ask. Yeah. The ones that I've dealt with, they've always been like, hey, this is where we're coming from. If you see it, it's us.
Well, see, I guess that really depends on your engagement,
and
right?
It doesn't, yeah.
Like, so do you want, I guess, are you going to be testing the responsiveness of your internal team?
Right. There you go.
Right. So, if management's like, yeah, we don't want them to know, we want to see how long it takes. And we have clients that test us sometimes, like, let's set off this friggin' thing and see how long it takes them to, yell at us. Or how long does it take for them to contain us, or whatever the case is. And that is a very legitimate, tactic to use during your engagement.
Yeah.
What about you, sir? You seen that a lot?
Who, me?
Me?
Yeah, Theo.
Theo,
I would assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I meant Theo. I said sir. Trying to get that out of the head. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. No, see the same thing. Yep.
I get Theo. Can you tell us about a time when a pen test has gone horribly wrong?
Oh yeah. No, no.
Great story.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a couple of things. You know what? There was one where I couldn't really find anything. I mean, it was just a basic like a web. It was a web test. It was a web pen test. And those things, like if you don't have a lot of forms that you can try like command injection or cross-site scripting or things like that, then you don't, there's not really anything there's not really much you can do. You can test like you can like check all the WordPress versions. And what made this one particularly bad was that I was stomping around pretty hard. And their WAF was particularly sensitive, and it just cut me off. And every time that I tried to like launch another attack on it, or try to scan it for like, I think it was using WordPress scan, it just shut me out. I had a couple VPNs, and I tried to keep switching my IP address, but every time I tried to spin this thing, so I mean, it was bad for me because I couldn't get anything accomplished, but it was good on their part. And maybe that's what they wanted to test. So
The one thing that always scared me when I was doing the pen testing I was doing is like, especially if we're not finding anything and it's getting to day 3 and day 4, I'm like, if I don't find something and within the next 90 days, they get popped because of something, I'm gonna look really bad.
Well, and so are you though? Right? I mean, yeah, you've got you didn't find anything. Great. That doesn't necessarily mean that's a bad thing.
it's how you present it, though.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hey, you guys are really you're knocking it out of the park. We weren't able to find anything. Now, granted, if somebody's paying you and you come back and like, yeah, we didn't find anything. Well, did they even do anything? That's what they're looking at. Like, they just took our money and didn't find anything. You're gonna find something, but it may not. Not gonna. Maybe it's not that you found a brand new CVE on there. Maybe it's just that, hey, you've got like 20 people that are domain admins. Do they really need to be domain admin?
Yeah. It's it's the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. You can't prove a negative. Just because you didn't find it doesn't mean it's not there.
Right.
You would have to tell them. You'd have to be like, hey, it's unfortunate. We spent all of our time. Here's like some evidence that we were actually trying stuff, but we didn't find anything. Congratulations. However, you're not safe. Like, stay diligent. Just because we didn't find anything doesn't mean no one will.
Yep. All right, with that, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We do see 164 of you people chilling out, hanging in there. Thank you so much to DJ Bisek, to Joseph, to Thor, to or Theo. Sorry, not Thor. My naming is bad today. I butchered the Simply Cyber thing for the community. I'm butchering guests on the show. Names are hard for me, ladies and gentlemen. If y'all been around, y'all know that for a while. And to those who stuck around, you get to enjoy the sea shanty for Barricade Cyber and the closing out message. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Please go out there, smell some grass or some flowers, enjoy some weather if you're able to. Go barbecue something. I think I'm going to do some pork chops today. Let me know what you're going to do. And please share this content if you found this enjoyable with somebody who you think will benefit from it. Help spread the message about this. Again, not about vanity. We're just trying to spread the message, trying to help grow this thing so other people are able to level up their career and their understanding of cybersecurity. Until next time, take care.
A kid whose passwords laid across all sites, they were the same. A criminal then found their fame by taking that data to go. Soon may a criminal come to steal your pictures and data and run. One day when the crime is done, they'll steal your account and go.
content, keep the cybersecurity train going by connecting with the other Simply Cyber community resources. We have the Discord server that's lively and always keeps the conversation going. You can connect with me directly on LinkedIn. And also every single weekday morning on the Simply Cyber channel, we're doing live daily cyber threat briefings, 8 a.m. Eastern Time, as well as Thursday at 4:30 p.m. We're doing live stream interviews with industry experts, and we produce videos that we push out every Wednesday morning. I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber. I hope you enjoyed the content, and we'll see you in the next one.